What's up, YouTube? See you again, Coach White Belt, for the first time in a long time, talking about jiu-jitsu stuff. Um, so I started training at a new gym. Well, it's the gym that I signed my son up at. So I recently moved out here to this area, and I was looking for a gym, and I was looking for a gym for my son. And obviously, this was like before COVID happened, and so everything shut down. I had signed my son up just prior to that, so he had gone like one or two classes, and then it shut down. And then we were doing Zoom classes because they have a contract, so it's not like I could just stop paying them. And uh, and then I was looking around for a gym for myself for a while, and I wanted to train at an MMA gym, but I couldn't find one that would fit my schedule because my I have my son during his school time, and then I also have him. Um, so he stays with me for a week, and then even some of the other time because I'm available to help him with his school stuff. His mom lets him come over here for the school time on occasion. So between that and my own school schedule, amongst other things, it was just kind of hard to find a gym that had hours that I could work with. And so I signed up at the same gym as where he's training, which is a Gracie Umaita Jiu-Jitsu gym, which is, normally it's mostly gi and a little bit of no gi. Right now, with slightly changed schedule, it's all gi. There's no gi classes, and so it's all gi, which is not something that I prefer. I wanted to get into an MMA gym to work on my striking some more, to work on my wrestling some more, to work on my MMA as a whole more. And so this doesn't offer that, but I was looking around for gyms, like I said, and I couldn't find one that fit my schedule. So I just said, that's enough waiting, that's enough looking around. I need to just sign up where I can train. And so they have a morning class, a noon class, and an evening class. And so some days I can't make the evening class. And most days, well, really all days, I can't make the noon class, but sometimes I can go in the evening, sometimes I can go in the morning. And so, well, he's got a cold this week, so we've been out of the gym all week. But um, I started going. I just like really recently signed up just a couple weeks ago, so I've gone a couple times, and had something really funny happened right away. So when I was signing up, I asked, "Hey, so I got my blue belt from Brian Peterson sometime at the start of last year. I didn't train very much in that year after that, and then obviously at the beginning of COVID and when I moved out here, I wasn't training at all. So I had my blue belt plus maybe like 3 or 4 months of training worth. And so I asked him, you know, should I wear my blue belt or should I come in wearing a white belt, just sort of out of respect for signing up for a new school? Because I don't know, whatever. I mean, obviously, I like that I have a blue belt and don't have a white belt anymore. But at the same time, like my skill level is wherever it is. It doesn't matter what belt I'm wearing. So I figured if I come in as a blue belt and I get beat up by all the white belts, well, what does it matter that I'm a blue belt? Or if I come in wearing my white belt and I beat up all the white belts and I beat up some blue belts, then it doesn't really matter that I'm wearing a white belt. So my son is a little more concerned with that sort of stuff. Like he's got 2 stripes now, and he's all hyped about it when he got him, and now he's like, when am I gonna get my next stripe? And I tell him it doesn't matter, But I understand. Kids need a short term goal to look forward to. I'd say actually adults do as well, until they like start to view things as a big picture and stuff like that. So I just signed up there, and so here's my blue belt, my Gracie White, the blue belt. And so I got a gi because one thing about Gracie Omaita, which is another thing that like I don't know, I was thinking about pros and cons about signing up there versus signing up somewhere else, and like in contrast with my previous gym, Peterson Grapplers, it's still my favorite T-shirt. And I still refer to Coach Brian as my coach. Whenever I talk to anybody and I say my coach, I mean Coach Brian. Um, so yeah, one of the things is you have to sign a contract for a year, which we didn't have to do at PG. And I would say that it's not that PG is a way of doing things is the norm, because it isn't. Like you can sign up for the day, you can pay for the day, or you can sign up for the whole month, which is equivalent to like 8 days worth of training, which is excellent. It's incredibly good. Another thing is you can wear whatever you want. I mean, aside of maybe coming in with, with a inappropriate lower body garment or something like that, but you can wear shorts and a shirt or whatever. You can wear any kind of rash guard you want. Um, and at this school, it's not that way. You have to wear a Gracie Umaita gi, and you have to wear their rash guard as well. And so those are sort of some things that, like, to me, it's, I don't know. I'm sure it's a franchise wide policy throughout Gracie Umaita, not just at this specific gym. And when I think about it as well, like, say if I had gotten my black belt from Brian Peterson, and I opened up, say if he were big, well known, and Peterson Jiu Jitsu were the business, right? That if I were to open my own Jiu Jitsu gym under the name Peterson Jiu Jitsu, that, I don't know, maybe I would. I would figure not. I feel like I would feel the same way that Brian does, which is that, I don't know, wear whatever is comfortable for you, and let people train. But yeah, I can't say that I know for sure because I don't have my own jiu-jitsu school. I'm not in that situation, and then again, like I said, I don't even know if there's even an option for any particular Gracie jiu-jitsu gym to enforce those sort of policies, to change any of those policies for their own particular gym. So maybe that's just the case. So one thing that they do is they sort of include the gi price in the kids class price, which is more than I was paying at Brian Peterson's. Brian Peterson charges $120 a month, and this Gracie Jiu Jitsu gym charges $150 a month with a reduced price on like family members. So the first one is 150, and then the following are like 140 or something like that. But I don't know. I'm not too hung up on it because training is training. Honestly, any jujitsu training is better than no jujitsu training, and not only that, but more than that, he's good at jujitsu. So he's a fifth degree black belt under. I'm not sure, actually, who he has his gym under. I know it's. I mean his belt under. I know it's under the Gracies, but I don't remember which one it is. But he's a fifth degree black belt. He competes in the Masters division of, I believe, 50 to 55, something like that, or 45 to 50. He's a little bit up there in age, and you can watch his videos on YouTube, his competition videos, and he's gotten plenty of first places in big tournaments. He's gotten second places on occasion. He might even have gotten third place on some, but there was a time when he was competing really, really regularly because I watched his video on this, that he had been diagnosed with cancer and ended up surviving it. And he said, you know what, I don't know how much time I have left, but I won't know how much, it gave him the perspective of life is short and you should take advantage of it while you can. And so one of his passions was jiu-jitsu. And he said that he hadn't been competing as much as he wanted to. And so he started competing all the time. He said he was competing like every other week or something like that. And so he's got a bunch of first places, some second places, and maybe a few third places. But he's really, really good. But the way that the gym trains, of course, is very, very different from how we do things at Peterson Grapplers, which was at PG, you pretty much are not allowed to pull guard. Sometimes, I mean, if we're going lightly or we're just kind of having fun or we're just trying out some stuff, one guy will sit down and let the other guy work for a guard pass, that sort of thing. But generally speaking, we don't pull guard. Everybody has to learn single legs, double legs, throw bys, duck unders, fireman's carry, some throws as well, hip throw, and a few other foot sweeps and pretty much everything else. So everybody starts to develop some takedowns, and thankfully there are some good high school wrestlers there at PG, some college wrestlers as well. So you get pretty decently good at takedowns as a result, or you just get smashed for a long time, and then eventually you pick up a little bit. And then another thing is we play top game a lot at PG, and so after jumping into with the wrestlers, the high school wrestlers a few times and training at the judo gym, San Fernando Valley Judo, where I was training. I picked up quite a lot of top game, and I started to get used to dealing with heavy top pressure, and that's something that I noticed a lot of gyms don't do. So I went in to train my first time after nearly a year off. The last time I had trained was probably sometime in like January or something was the last time I was at Brian's. And so I went in thinking like, man, I'm way out of shape. I mean, sure, I'm still like kind of, lifting weights at home and stuff like that. And on occasion I'll go mountain biking or something like that. But I'm nowhere near in the like grappling condition shape that I used to be. And so I wanted to just sort of take it easy, uh, get some movement back in, let my hips warm up and stuff like that. I'm not 21 years old, I'm 33 now. So, yeah. And and so the guy I was talking to, one of the other blue belts, was in the class, and he let me roll and just sort of let me work, let me move around, let me warm up, and he was real nice about it. Um, and then the second roll, the guy was, he was really trying to make some moves. He was another blue belt, two-stripe blue belt, trying to make some moves, and I wouldn't say he was like trying to smash me or anything, but he was definitely not playing a defensive or lazy game. So we had a pretty good roll, and then I rolled with, I think, like a 3 or 4 stripe white belt after that, and I did fine. So I did fine coming back. I did feel exhausted even just after the warm up. I was already, man, I'm winded. I don't know how I'm gonna do in these rolls. Thankfully, the first guy kind of let me take a break. Um, but I thought I was gonna be super rusty and I was gonna get crushed. And I was like, man, I don't want to let myself down, and I don't want to let I was gonna say my coach Brian Peterson down, showing up to a new school wearing my blue belt and getting beat up by white belts or getting beat up by other blue belts. Well, thankfully that didn't happen. I did hold my own just fine. And but the funny thing that happened was right before that, the coach there, um, his name is Ricardo Gumiraes. So you can look him up on YouTube, watch plenty of his competition stuff, and he's really good. You'd see. But he's a guard player. It's very different from the sort of stuff that I do in its gi jujitsu and its competition specific jujitsu a lot of the time. So like I said, very very different. Um, but he pulled me aside like as soon as we were done doing the warm ups, and then he said something like, and I don't want to offend anybody because I don't know, my Portuguese accent is like maybe horrible or something, but he's like, "Hey guys, I want to tell everybody this is the new guy. He come from a different gym. He said he's gonna come. He's very good, and he's gonna come up to put a whooping on all the blue belts around here. So make sure you show him, what kind of jujitsu we do. How good our blue belts are, and that we train hard here." And so he said something to this effect, pretty much saying that I was talking smack, showed up, and was claiming I was gonna beat up the blue belts, and I was like, wait, and then he was like, no, I'm just kidding. He didn't say that stuff, and I was like, oh, thank goodness that that I didn't have to be the one to make that disclaimer of like, wait, you guys, you don't understand. I didn't say any of this stuff. He himself said it, but I felt like it was sort of like um, like he was joking, but he wasn't joking. Like, he comes from a different gym, and he's a blue belt. According to him, he's a blue belt. So, you know, put him to work. Let's see what he's got. Not like beat this guy up and kick him out of here, because obviously, like, I signed up. I'm part of the gym now. But, probably to put me to the test a little bit. And, and, I held my own just fine. And I noticed that, like, after the first guys that I rolled with, um, he pulled them aside, and like I didn't hear the whole conversation, but he did ask sort of like, how did it go? Like maybe to ask like um, more about my style of rolling, or what their opinions are, what their first impressions are of the way that I roll. and I didn't get to hear anything that they responded or anything like that. And maybe he wasn't even asking about that, but he just asked like, "Well, how did it go?" to the two specific guys that I had just finished rolling with. So I went to class again a few days later, and I rolled with some blue belts again, and I held my own just fine again. And I do on occasion, like I did sort of get the feeling that like, and I can't say that I wouldn't be any different, but that I felt like they really on occasion wanted to not lose to me, because there were some times that like we were kind of rolling medium speed, and I'd get it into a position to attack for a submission, and then that's when they'd sort of kick it up, and maybe that's just the style that they roll. They play like a medium pace game unless they're in danger, and then they go high pace to make sure they don't get submitted. Um, but I did sort of feel that, and I was like, oh, I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know why that is, but it's interesting. And then, but I think about it like if a new guy came into PG that was the same rank as me, and he's brand new, and I'm in danger against him, I can't say that I would do any differently. So, what's up? You gonna wave? So, so yeah, I did think it was interesting, and then uh, the last guy I rolled with, his name is Alex, I believe. Um, he had asked me, because the reason it was an intrigue to many of the guys there, which is understandable, is that I'm brand new to the gym. I'm wearing a blue belt, and it looks like a brand new blue belt that like as if somebody just got promoted, right? And they're like, "Wait a minute, you train here?" And then I'm like, well, I just started training here. I came from another gym. I got my blue belts over there. And they're like, oh, okay. And so sometimes, they in this small talk, they'd ask me like, oh, what gym did you come from? Like, how did you guys train? What was it like? And so I talked to this guy, and I said, it was primarily no gi. We did a little bit of gi. I would say most of my gi experience is in judo, not in jujitsu. And we did plenty of takedowns, which is like, a big contrast to this gym. And so they're like, oh, that's cool that it's like, that it's very different from our style. And so that this last guy said that he was interested to roll with me, and we didn't get to choose our roles, which is also different from PG sort of. At PG, we do enough rounds that pretty much everybody rolls with everybody by the time the night is done. And in this particular gym, the couple times I've been there, it was we only had enough time for like 3 rolls, and they're like decently long rolls, 5 or 6 minute rolls or something like that. But we only had 3 rolls before the end of the class, and uh, and so I didn't get to roll with that guy because we were talking, we were drilling together, we were drilling partners, and so we didn't get to roll the first 2 rolls, and I was like, oh man, maybe we're not gonna get to roll, maybe some other time, because he was interested to sort of get a feel for the sort of stuff I picked up and what I had developed up to that point from a different gym that he thought was interesting. And then we did get to roll the third round, and so I told him that like, because like I said, this gym they pull guard a lot, so either they do like a standing version of pulling guard where they post the foot on the hip and then they lay down the guard and proceed to work from there, or they just start seated. And so this guy wanted to start on the feet and see like what's up. And so I let him sort of try to attack. He went in for a single, I stuffed it, and he got back up and he tried something else, and I kind of like defended it. And so I feel like he could tell that that I was looking to counter him, because I was kind of to not be a jerk and just try to, I don't know, to lift this guy up and slam him, or to throw him or something like that, to not do anything, not be a jerk and not accidentally do something too aggressive. I said, okay, well, I'll let him attack, and then we'll work from there. I'll work some defense, maybe I'll look for a counter or something like that. And so he ended up eventually pulling guard, because he felt like I was gonna counter him in that moment. So and this is obviously is essentially a safe way to do it, which is if your takedown fails, make sure to get your guard. Plain and simple. Because The worst thing is your takedown failing, and then you end up on the bottom of side controller mount. So felt like he was gonna get taken down, and then he pulled guard, and we proceeded to work from there. We kind of both killed each other at that point. Like, I don't know how long if the guy's been sitting out, or if he's tired from work, or like, I don't know. Like, I know I was tired, and I know why I'm tired. I know he was pretty tired at the end of the roll, but I don't know if that was due to, like I said, external circumstances, other things within his life that maybe are keeping him from being, or maybe like he had a really hard rolls before that. I don't know. I wasn't watching. Um, but we were both pretty dead at the end of it. It was a good time, and I'm glad I was able to hold my own, coming back after so long. And another thing that happened, was, um, I decided to play guard with him a little bit. Like, we were working on some positions, and I felt like, well, I could try to get into this dogfight and try to take him down, or try to mat return him, but I'm gonna just go to my back and see what happens, right? Because a lot of these guys play guard; they don't play top game a whole lot, and so let's see what happens, essentially. And so I did, and then I got a full reap on him, and I was gonna go for a straight ankle lock. Then I was transitioning to a heel hook, and like very very slowly, right? You like leg locks are super dangerous, and if you're like spazzy with it at all, the guy spins the wrong way while you secure the heel hook or something like that. Like, it's very bad news for everybody. So I decided not to. I went real nice and slow, giving him plenty of time to try to like sort of work his way out of it, work out of the reap and stuff. And in that moment that I grabbed the heel hook, I heard the coach Ricardo. He was nearby, and he said no heel hooks. I could just hear him yell it sort of across the room. And I was like, oh, well, I didn't know that. No heel hooks, okay. And they do wrist locks, they do chokes. I don't know if they allow neck cranks and stuff like that at this gym, but so after the class was done, Alex and I had a good roll. I shook his hand, and he said, like, he was very appreciative of rolling with me, and I was as well. I was glad that somebody was able to sort of go hard with me for a little while, um, and to have a good back and forth and stuff after such a long time out. I was dead after that. Like, I had a headache from how tired I was. But afterward, I talked to the coach, and I asked him, okay, so I heard you say no heel hooks, obviously, while I was in the middle of securing a heel hook. So I just want to know, like, for future reference, like, what is not allowed, I guess, what is against the rules. And he said basically no reaping the leg and no heel hooks. And so then I asked, like, well, what is considered reaping the leg? Like, is this IBJJF rule of no reaping, or is it like your own variation of this, or to get a little clarification? And so he told me basically, yeah, you can post the foot on the hip, but as soon as it starts to pass the center line, that's it. So, IBJJF technicality. And yeah, and I can understand why some people are very much against it, because yeah, if somebody doesn't know exactly what they're doing, then leg locks can be very dangerous. But we've been training them at PG since, I don't know, I think I got heel hooked in my second day there, and I got straight ankle locked that same day, and then I got knee barred left and right, for a long time. And then I started to pick those up on my own, and then I started to heel hook guys and straight ankle lock guys, but we all are taught from the very beginning, while we're doing those moves, you have to be really slow and really careful. And if you feel like the guy is gonna break his own leg or ankle, you just let him go. You just let go of the reap. You just let go of your 50-50 or whatever it is. Sure, maybe you lose the submission, maybe you don't get him, but who cares, right? You're just training. And so I feel like we've trained about it very, very smart. I haven't broken anything other than a couple of fingers and some toes. And that's, honestly, those were due to moments in the gi for the most part. So, not from leg locks, not from reaping, not from having my legs attacked or anything like that. And I've been, like I said, attacked with all of them. Knee bar Mike would get me all the time. And and a few other guys in there with some good heel hooks and good toe holds and stuff. So that's another thing that's very different from my old gym, PG, is the sort of limited leg locks, and so I feel slightly conflicted, but I feel like this is just natural to be starting at a new gym and be like, well, this isn't like my old gym, right? This is like the new kid in school mentality or something, that like you get accustomed to a particular school where you go and you know the kids that go there and you've become buddies with them and whatever. And then you go to a new school and you're like, but I like my old school. And this school's so different from mine. And these kids are so different from my old friends and things like that. And it's just a matter of like acclimating, you know, to get used to it. I had no qualms at all about signing my son up once I saw, like, you know, their kids are pretty good. Their kids have good sweeps, good submissions. Some of them have some decent takedowns. But for the most part, it's just kids learn so much from jiu-jitsu, and adults do too. But um, for the most part, like, kids don't ever run into any sort of physical interaction on a regular or normal basis. Like, you can meet plenty of 10-year-old kids who have never been in any sort of physical altercation with another kid. And it's just, you know, getting them used to being in a stressful environment and thinking clearly and having skills for it. Of course, is important for adults too, but as adults, maybe you've been in a few fights by the time you're 18, or if you grew up where I did, maybe you've been in like 100 of them, you know, and so you get used to stressful or physical environments, even if you don't always get into a fight. If you're always sort of presented with that idea and you like start to at least become used to it, or less stressed out or less scared of it, then you're in a better place to sort of pick up some jujitsu once you start training. But this is like I said, I wanted to train at MMA because I wanted to get better at MMA, and although this jiu-jitsu I feel like is not necessarily gonna make me much better at MMA, it is gonna get me in better shape. I am gonna learn some new gi specific jiu-jitsu stuff, and because I didn't train in the gi that much under Brian, I'm sure Coach Brian knows plenty of this stuff as well. Yeah, I'm sure he would show up and see almost, you know, nothing that's new to him, but to me it will be because I haven't trained in the gi that much. But more than anything, you know, it's gonna get me in shape, and it's the way that I grapple and the way that this is what I heard right after rolling with these guys is that I can tell you train no gi, like very very obviously. As soon as we start, I can tell that you train no gi, and this is because like I'm not always looking for a hook grip. I'm not always looking for a lapel grip. I'm not always looking for the pant leg. You know, I'm not rolling my fingers up, you know, the entire roll to grab a hold of somewhere on the gi. Most of the time, I'm looking for an underhook, an overhook, a collar tie, an arm drag. A lot of the stuff that I do, you know, I don't use grips for, and that's just coming from no-gi. It feels comfortable to me, and it works well enough for me anyway. And of course, I don't know, I'll pick some gi stuff up along the way, and I'll start to use it more. But I definitely don't want to rely on it too much, um, for maybe obvious reasons to everybody out there, all of the no-gi guys at least, who will make the argument that like jiu-jitsu sucks or whatever. Doesn't. You just have to be aware of when it's applicable and when it's not applicable. Like, you can do a hip throw with an underhook and like elbow control or wrist control, or, you know, there are many variations of in which to do it. You don't have to be wearing a gi to do ogoshi, the hip throw. You can do it no gi. So the same stuff applies to jiu-jitsu. There's some stuff you can't do. You can't do like worm guard and collar chokes and things like that, but you can do rear naked chokes, and you can still grip the ankle. You can still use like X guard, you know, in no-gi. So there's a lot of stuff that does translate over, and the difference is like instead of grabbing someone's sleeve, you're grabbing someone's wrist. Instead of grabbing someone's collar, you're grabbing somebody's neck. So it's not that different. But this is just a random rant because I'm finally back in jiu-jitsu, and I'm so glad to be back in. And you know, you get a good night's sleep after a hard training day, after not training for so long. And with everything else, you know, school and stuff in life, it's you know, things can get pretty stressful at times, and with not really getting to go out and explore the world and do all the kinds of cool fun stuff that we like to do on a regular basis, it's a good little escape to you know, to wreck or be wrecked on the mat. And I just hadn't made a video about it, and I kept meaning to. So I'm sure I forgot some stuff that I wanted to say or whatever, but not important. Anyway, if you have any input, comments, or whatever, leave them down below. Uh, like, share, comment, subscribe, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, if you're not training because you're not finding the right gym, sign up at any grappling gym, really, or any good Muay Thai gym, or any good boxing gym, or whatever. Because even like mediocre jiu-jitsu training, mediocre boxing, you know, maybe not like from some fraud who has no idea what they're doing, but from somebody who's got some experience and knows a little bit about it, even if it's like, I don't know, competition specific or something like that. Even that stuff will help you develop your skills so much more than just not training or doing Zoom classes, stuff like that. Because like my kid, like I said, he did months of Zoom classes, and I kind of roll with him a little bit and stuff. Um, but he definitely didn't advance very much in that period of time compared to what he would have done in the gym. And like now that he's been in the gym and he kind of got beat up the first few times, he's doing a lot better now. He's made a lot of progress in these short like few weeks that he's been in class, rolling with other kids. Another thing though is like he's 6 years old, but he's kind of tall, so he's too big for the little kids class. So he's in the big kids class where most of the kids are like, you know, 8 to 14 or whatever. But a lot of the kids are like 8, 9, 10 years old, and they're up close to the same size he is, but big age difference. So he gets muscled and he gets frustrated, but he's doing good otherwise. And I don't know, he'll get tough, you know. But yeah, you can get some DVDs if you've got a buddy who trains, who has trained some amount, a 3 month or 6 month white belt or something. They can help you. They can help you. If it's you and your friend who have never trained, and you guys are doing it, then like it'll be a little bit slower because you're both gonna make mistakes that you can't correct each other on. But you know, if you've got somebody that knows a little bit, then they'll help you out more. But if you're just doing it by yourself at home with a grappling dummy or with somebody else who doesn't know, and you're just hoping that like drilling these moves once in a while will help you get there, it's better than nothing. It is definitely better than nothing, right? Because if you like learn a guard pass, you learn how to do an armbar correctly, with the correct instruction, with the correct steps, then yeah, sure. When you go in, you're gonna remember those things. The only thing is that you're not gonna have been pressured to apply them under stress, which is kind of like what you're gonna have to then learn afterward. But you learn so much more on the mat than you do at home. But anyway, rant's over. I'll see you guys later. Bye.